Are you tired of your training being stuck in the past? Want to modernize your approach without straying from the methodology that started it all? Sentinel training is for you.
Do you want to improve your training and reach your fittest potential? Well, what are you waiting for? Start your free trial today.
Sentinel training is varied and fun. Keeps you on track even if you won't run. Taylor and Bryson work so hard you can tell. They even have ebooks for in a hotel.
No more gimmicks, no more out-of-date and tired ideas. The year is 2025. Start training like it. Sentinel training. Evolve or get left behind.
Welcome to Coffee Pods and Wads. We've got James Hobart. We've got QR codes all on the bottom from Frog Grips. You can scan that and get 16% off if you use CPW16, I think. So the fittest woman on earth, fittest man on earth, both use Frog Grips. Second fittest man on earth uses Frog Grips. Second fittest woman on earth uses Frog Grips. Does Olivia? I don't think Olivia does. I don't think James does. That's still pretty good though. Top two on both sides. Sentinel. I mean, if you want to be the fittest on earth, you should just start doing Sentinel and just doing everything Taylor says. And then GoWad, fittest man on earth. The third fittest man on earth actually uses GoWad, and he's not sponsored by them. I thought that was interesting. He says he does an hour a day of GoWad, and he's not sponsored by them. He needs to get the finger out and get on the Sprague train. I'm interested in how you're doing this. So you're on this show, James, and you're also commenting on Shut Up and Scribble. How are you doing that at the same time?
I don't think that's me.
Yeah. Listen, if that account doesn't pop up in the chat while you're on, while I can see both of your hands at the same time. Yeah.
That was actually, I was going to just say, like, the answer to your first question is no, it's not. Yeah. But you just cut right into it. You could have, just before you come in, you could have been like, hey, Cassandra, I need you to do me a favor real quick. When I'm on this show, I need you to just blast the chat with messages. Be the ultimate cover up. And
wow, look at this. I use Frog Grips and do Sentinel. I'm making the game. You need to sign up for GoWad as well, though.
I'm pretty impressed with that Sentinel. What did you call it? An advert? My light is so
commercial. Commercial.
I know it's not a very cool word either. But it was a little long, but I think it was pretty good. I like that they put out. I'll give them a little shout out too. But I like that they did what they call it, the games for the rest of us. Yeah, we did that at our affiliate, or not our affiliate, but the affiliate I coach at, CrossFit Mafia. We programmed at least the ones that had been announced. We programmed them into the week. We made some little modifications, and a lot of our members, they're not like CrossFit Games enthusiasts, but they pay enough attention because our owner, Brentney, she's one of the judges. She's on seminar staff. And so she does like a competition of like who can spot her the most throughout the weekend. It's really fun. But we did the workouts and they enjoyed them. So I thought it was cool that Sentinel did that. So
yeah, that is cool. They're doing shit. Did he say it on the show? Is this public or not public?
It's probably not public.
Okay. It's fine. It's only Taylor. Worst he'll do is just bark at me. I think they're doing next month or in a few weeks. Him and Bryson are resetting their whole .com page. So they're like retesting all the benchmarks, all the lifts, and they're going to fill it up to date, which I feel like almost nobody ever does. I feel like people fill it in when they start and they're really like, yeah, this is amazing. And then they realize nobody else does it and they just stop. And then go back and be like, wow, remember when I could clean that? Or, I can't believe I could only clean that before.
I'm going to go look at mine. I think I still have like a above 500 Fike on bad score, which means like rebounding box jumps. This is scary. This is scary doing this kind of stuff. But it's why you retest things. Oh yeah, back squat, clean and jerk, 325.
When was that from?
Oh man, that's multiple years ago. I think the most I cleaned recently, I cleaned 315, but getting it overhead is a different problem, which is funny because that used to never be the issue. Snatch 268. That is the one where it's like, oof.
I'll save you some hassle.
Oh yeah, there you go. Oh my God, this is embarrassing. but it's good. It's a good reminder.
5K, 21 minutes that's you could probably match that now, could you? 21 minutes?
I honestly think that's probably the one on there that I'm better at. I'm a much better runner than I've ever been. I should enter my Chad and my Murph.
What's the L1 benchmark? Is that not just Fran?
That was I think the level 1 benchmark was not Fran, because they started doing the thruster burpees. It was like thrusters, 3 rounds of 15 and 15, I think, thrusters and burpees over the bar. But anyway, that's horrifying to look at.
You should do it too. Just retest them all.
Yeah, I should. That's a good, oh man, talk about facing your demons.
But like most games athletes now, you go onto that page and it's basically, there might be one thing filled in and everything else just blank.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I don't want to give my competitors an edge. That's why they don't fill in their height or weight or anything.
Yeah, as if other games athletes are like searching these profiles to scope out information on each other.
God, your games page is so long. That's crazy.
That's old, man.
Did you qualify for age groups this year?
I don't think I did, but I don't actually know.
Yeah, you'd know by now if you did, I guess. It's like in 2 weeks.
I had I didn't have any intention to, but I age up this year. So I turn 40 in June, next year, June. I think that allows me to like slide in at the bottom of that 40 to 44 or 40 to 45 bracket. So this is my chance again.
Who's the guy that used to do that every time he aged up, he re-entered and he'd win, and then he wouldn't compete again for another 4 years, and then he'd do it again?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name, and I can't. But yeah, he had like a ton of championships. I mean, there are some Masters athletes out there who have like 5 or not as many as Tia, like 5 or 6 or 7 championships, which is crazy. But
yeah, I remember someone told me about that guy, that he'd like win 35 to 39 when he was 35, then he wouldn't compete again for 4 years, and then the year he turned 40, he'd enter again, win again, and then he wouldn't. It's just such a crazy way of doing it.
Yeah, from like a health perspective, movement quality, like range of motion, I feel good. What's crazy to me is like, and the strength levels in CrossFit, especially even among the masters, it's like, that is something I have not kept up on in my training the way that I was when I was competing. And to see just the weight some of those people move is bonkers. Watching Colton squat 570 at the games, the way he did, I felt like it was like a high watermark moment for CrossFit Games. And I know that's like probably insulting to some strength athletes out there, but they always like, not all of them, but a fair amount of them like knocking on us. But compared to like how fast everybody ran in that first event, and the handstand walking volume, like everything else, that was a really cool moment for us in CrossFit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess even like Jason was talking about it on Savon's show the other day about the strain that level of strength training puts on your body, like when you're trying to get those numbers up there. So then it becomes a thing of like, I don't know, like a rule of diminishing returns or whatever, where once you stop competing, it's kind of like there's a ceiling where it just doesn't matter anymore. Like once you're a certain level of strong, it's like anything beyond that is just like, oh, do I really, really want that extra 5 pounds or 10 pounds or whatever? Or am I just fine being able to lift, 3/4 body weight, double body weight, or whatever it is for the different movements, and just be like, yeah, I'm just satisfied with that. Like my what's the guy who carries the boulder up the hill or the calf up the hill?
Well, I think Hercules carried a calf. Sisyphus, the guy who pushes the boulder.
Is Sisyphus the?
But it always rolls back down on him.
Yeah, one of them is
an Atlas holds the earth, or the
one of them. I think Sisyphus not the calf, and it gets fatter and fatter, and he has to keep carrying it, and that's how strength.
No, that's Hercules.
Okay, well, that's how progressional strength is based on that. Like that's explained through that, isn't it? That like if it gets heavier, you have to get stronger, and so on.
Oh no, the Greek wrestler Milo, and then there was that really famous strength journal Milo for a long time. Sorry, there you go. And
yeah, so I'm basically doing that, but with my kids. So once I can lift my kids, I know I'm strong enough. So if I can pick my 3 kids up or carry 2 kids at once, it's like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I won't need to carry like a 150 kilo sandbag. I just need to carry my 2 kids.
You got
And
to
then the
carry them
third one can walk.
all at the same time.
I did once. I had one of, I had,
Oh shit!
oh,
Hold
I
on
had
a
one on
second.
a piggyback, and then I had the other 2 like front rack, and my lower back just fucking blew up. But yeah, wow, this is disappointing. I mean, I couldn't see your hands at the time, but I'm assuming. Oh, that's weird, isn't it? That
I just broke my mic. You gotta give me like 30 seconds to fix this.
Yeah, you go ahead. I'll just amuse myself in the chat. The resurgence has begun. Yeah, Hobart, great promo videos from the games this year. Enjoyed your CrossFit chat last week. Also, oh yeah, Rios absolutely fucking crushed it with those videos.
I think I'm just gonna have to hold it. So let me know if you could get a lot of feedback.
That puke shirt is cool. This is CrossFit Medical Society. Which way do I go? That way.
You know, you kind of you're asking me about this, and you're kind of like the state of CrossFit and the games, and this might be really superficial, but I took a picture of a video of the game store while I was there, and I think there's been like a lot of criticism over the last couple of years of like the merchandise or like the apparel we've been putting out, and recently, who is supplying that and help supporting design that has changed, and this was like the first time I think in forever where I put up and I don't get a lot of this anyway, but I put up a video of the store and people were DMing me, specifically asking me, random people be like, hey, will you grab me that shirt will you grab me that shirt? And I took that as a really, really good sign. Like, obviously that's not like, oh, everything's perfect and everybody's, there's nothing we need to fix, but it was like one of those, I'm into the concept of like fighting this as like a war of attrition. And it's like, we just need like lots and lots and lots of small wins and just like keep making good gains, kind of like you do in your training. And that was one that I just stuck out to me as like, this is pretty sweet, that people are that jazzed about the gear, like that insane tie-dye shirt with the pukey on it. It's like, it was cool to see people excited.
Were you at the games, CrossFit? This is honestly, it's fucking breaking my brain trying to figure out who this guy is. So I have it down to, it's a male. They worked in broadcast or have experience in broadcast because they know too much technical shit that like nobody would know. Like we didn't know when we were doing Syndicate. They were like saying the names and stuff, and we were like, "Oh yeah, that thing." And it's someone who's been around since at least 2010, 2011. Like,
well, now you know it's not me.
Yeah, but I don't know. I can't see your hands. Although it'd be weird if you're agreeing with yourself on the screen. Yeah, it was, I had the same. I had a few people I bought like the gray pukey shirt. I wore it on a show and someone messaged afterwards and said, where'd you get that shirt? And then there was another shirt I had and someone else messaged as well. But like I was, were you did you go to any of the affiliate stuff? In the other venue?
I did not. I missed it. And that
was pretty cool. Like, so when I go to stuff like that, usually I'm like, this is going to be so fucking boring. Like, it's going to be stuff that I'm interested in, but don't have enough skin in the game and don't have enough experience, and it won't be pitched towards me. It shouldn't be, but it won't be, and I'll just get bored. So I went to Shafi's talk and I went to Kenna's talk, and like Shafi's just so fucking good. I was like, after listening to him, I was like, man, I'm pretty sure I could open an affiliate and it'd be really successful. I just like after listening to him for like 25 minutes. But it was crazy. Kenna's talk, when she was talking about like, oh, we're making a shift in like marketing and stuff, and then you go over to the CrossFit store and you're like, holy shit, it's happening. Like I can see it all happening in real time, and it's pretty crazy. But yeah, I don't know if it's intentional or if it, like, obviously there's intent behind it, but I don't know if it's sort of a coincidental realization of what's needed, or if it's been planned all along and the timelines just happen to line up, or if it's reactionary and it's like, all right, things are not going well and they're not going well because of this, this, and this. We need to change. Let's revert back to being slightly more abrasive, slightly more like kind of counterculture and contrarian and like the truth seeker stuff, and let's go back to that instead of just being like you know, hey, bring everyone, and you're all like, everyone can come, and it's anyone can do this at all, and bring your brother and bring your whatever. It should be like, this is fucking hard, but you should want to do it, and if you do want to do it, we'll help you do it.
Yeah, you know, I got adopted by the media and marketing team at the games this year. My role was not specifically with what they were up to, but I got to watch them work a lot, which was really fun. And I'm getting to know Kinna better. And I've known a couple other people on that team for a while now. And I think part of it is like CrossFit is simultaneously this really big company, but also not a really big company. You know, if you look at where there are CrossFit affiliates, even though it's relatively young, how long CrossFit's been around, you know, it's like we're all over the globe, which is really crazy. Like they've even had an affiliate. I was talking to Jenna about this weekend. Like they even had an affiliate down in Antarctica. And in that way, it's like, it's huge. And in terms of its impact on the fitness industry, it's been immense. And, you know, the inroads we've made into, I would say, healthcare are continuing to grow. And in that way, it's really big. But at the same time, it's like, it's not an enormous company in terms of like how the headquarters functions and how many people work there. So I think part of it, to your question, is like, we've had a direction we're working on getting back to. It just doesn't happen as fast as everybody wants. And I will say, I think I was thinking about this before we chatted today, was like, I feel like the marketing team, the media marketing team has finally like coalesced. You know, they have all the seats filled with the people that they need there. You know, they all understand, you know, better than they have in a long time, how to work together and what they want to do and how to work with everybody else in the company and how we work with them again. So I think it's probably more than just one thing, but a lot of it I think is like, you know, finally the hard work that nobody saw, you know, getting the teams together, getting them to work well, figuring out like the message that we wanted to galvanize. I feel like, you know, you're finally seeing the fruits of that labor is really what I see going on there with that team. And, you know, even me, I feel like even the social media coming out of, you know, CrossFit games for the last couple months now, has just really had this nice, like, you know, little bit edgier, tongue in cheek at times, but also very core to what we do in terms of being important about health and fitness and movement. And it's been fun, you know, in taking ourselves seriously in terms of how CrossFit can affect your life, but not too seriously. But at the end of the day, we're all just kind of fitness nerds who are obsessed with working out and naming workouts and making acronyms out of movements. So I think a lot of this, like I said, is just, you know, you're seeing all the hard work and the effort kind of come to fruition at this point. And there's not to say that there isn't more to do.
It's funny as well though for me, because I really, really got into it just as Forging Elite Fitness was kind of dissipating.
Yeah.
And I remember like watching all the old stuff and being like, God, that's so much cooler than what we're doing now and what I'm hearing now. And then I just sort of like did it anyway, just like thought Forging Elite Fitness anyway, and like just thought that way. So then to see it coming back, like seeing it on t-shirts and seeing it on fucking posters and banners and on the backs of shirts and stuff was pretty cool at the games. Yeah, it's nice. I don't know. I just think it's what's needed as well, because even like there was an element of, I think it was Travis from Vindicate actually put it up, where it was like sort of like trimming the fat, like at the games this year, that the people who really wanted to be there were there. And then it's just like a reset. And it's just like you go onto Reddit. I don't know. Do you go on Reddit?
I do. Yeah. I was actually going to talk about that. Yeah.
You go onto Reddit sometimes, and there was about 2 days, was it maybe Saturday and then Sunday, where there was only positive posts about the games. Like someone will post something maybe questioning, saying like, oh, is it just me or does it seem a bit quiet, whatever, and all the responses were positive, being like, I think this is the best it's been in a few years and it's really good and blah blah. That shifted like late evening. It kind of reverted back to form. But it's funny that like there's just so many of these fucking echo chambers where, especially on Reddit, someone will say, you could have a post saying, oh, the games is back, like a phoenix from the ashes, like you can see it, you can feel it, the energy was electric, I was there, it was amazing. And then the next day you could have another post saying, well, the games is dead. What are we going to do now? Like, it's fucked. Castro should have gone. Don should have gone. I can't believe it's still here. They killed a guy, and it's just like on and on and on. And then if you were to comment on the first one saying, yeah, good point, I agree, you'll get downvoted as many times as the guy who posted in the first place. And if you comment on the second one being like, I was actually there and it was pretty good, like it seemed like a pretty good crowd, you're just on -12. Like, just straight away, just because you're not like, fuck Dave and screw CrossFit and whatever else. You're like, you've been around since Greg was born. But like, you've had so many multiple different roles, and everything that you do and your whole life is intricately linked, like a web mess through everything. CrossFit is just all around you. You've been, coach and athlete, and your wife does, like, there's so much stuff involved.
Yeah.
And then you're employed by them. Is it like, do you just separate yourself from that shit? Like, or like when you see those, because I was kind of surprised when I was watching the CrossFit podcast and you were like, yeah, I watch all the shows and I'm in Reddit. And I was like, Jesus, why is he going on Reddit? Like, he's actually employed by them.
Yeah. I think it's ups and downs. I'll tell you, when I used to run like a programming platform with Spencer Hendel and Austin Maliolo, and a friend of ours, Travis Herberneck. We brought him on later to help grow, like, make us like a legit company. But anyway, and back then I used to read like all the feedback, and you get really thick skin when you do something like that, like running an online business, especially around programming, because you read all the feedback. And so I'm kind of addicted to it now. There are definitely good days and bad days. Like, I would say as of late, because I'm like learning how to manage it better, there are more good days. And by the way, CrossFit, that was my favorite t-shirt too. Funny you say that. There are definitely more good days. But also I think every once in a while, what I think is so important about sometimes reading that stuff is you find some stuff that is valuable in there and worth thinking about, and is kind of like on the nose. So it's not all garbage. Do you know what I mean? And also, I've said this for a really long time. I think there is a point at which that media or those media personalities can be non-productive to moving CrossFit forward in a good way. But I could screw stuff up in my job too that wouldn't help CrossFit. But at the same time, I think when we have media who is that concerned over every little detail that's going on in CrossFit, and I've said this a lot, I think that says a lot about like, hey, we're still doing okay. Like, there's still something really valuable here when people are that attached to something, if they're attached to it positively, negatively, critically. And as long as I see that, like, I still carry a lot of hope in terms of like, we can continue to make this better, because there are all these people in this area who want to spend this much time, like yourself, interviewing people, making videos, making content. That says something really important about CrossFit. The day that people are just like not caring is like when I'd be like, oh crap, something's very wrong.
Yeah.
So to some extent, it's there's a little bit of like, you're just being a little bit of masochistic by reading all that stuff. But at the same time, I think it's representative of something overall good and beneficial.
Yeah. I kind of liken it to, if you've got like a friend who, say if you met up with Rich and he'd gained like 50 pounds and you were like, geez, Rich, man, you need to fucking change something. You look terrible. Like, come on, let's go for a little run or something. And maybe you mock him a little bit, or, like you point at his love handles, or, a bit that's jiggling or whatever.
I would for sure take that opportunity to absolutely thrash him in a workout. Yes.
Yeah. Versus you have another friend who's like got really bad cancer. Like, you're not going to be going up to that other friend being like, hey, Baldy, mocking them in the same way. You'd be like sitting at their bedside being like, is there anything I can do? Like, how can I help? Like, what can we do to get you back on your feet? And I feel like for the last maybe 5-6 years, CrossFit was just an overweight Froning, where you could kind of jab and poke and, like point out the flaws in the hopes that things improve. And then for the last like maybe 12 to 18 months, it became just a friend that's riddled with organ cancer, like multiple failing organs. So now we're at the point where, by and large, it's like, what can we do? How can we help? Whatever. And it's funny to watch other people on the outside say, wow, you've changed your tune.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, you guys used to be critical. And it's like, yeah, when it was just like overweight, not when it was like fucking dying in a hospital bed. After last weekend, though, I kind of feel like maybe we're in a day ward. Like maybe we're in an
start making fun of us
unit.
again.
Yeah, like the life support is turned off. Like we're kind of, the tubes have been removed. We're kind of on the way back. So I do think we could kind of revert to closer to what we were. But like,
well, I already saw Hiller slagging James for having his knee sleeves folded over doing box jumps. So I'm glad he's staying on top of it.
Nice use of slagging. Yeah, I think to be fair, I think Hiller's probably the one consistent. I think he probably where maybe 3 years ago he would have been throwing like multiple grenades at certain things. Now he's just kind of throwing fireworks. Like at certain stuff. So I think he's still consistent, and he's still like, the rules are the fucking rules, and if you're not following them, there's a problem. But he's not going as hard after the actual thing itself, like the patient, let's say. But it's funny, and then you look at the other side, and there's like, we're always criticized of being negative and divisive and causing division and all this sort of stuff. And I watched like Be Friendly last night, where at one point Brian said, and there's plenty of people that think Dave is a criminal, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, actually, what is happening? That this show that's called us divisive and causing division within the community and blah blah blah, and then like 2 days after the games they're pronouncing that there's people that think Dave is a criminal, and that like they'll never be involved in CrossFit again if he's like, what's that if not division? I don't know, it's just stuff like that is just fucking bizarre when you're watching it happening, and you're like, wow, like are you so dumb that you can't hear what you're saying, or are you just so blinkered that you think this is like, you're just like, this is exactly the right thing to do. I have this goal to just get Dave fired at the end of this, and whatever it takes to get it done. I just think it's crazy. Just ironic, like, or I don't know.
I think there are certain levels of we're humans. We're very error prone, and I think a lot of it comes down to like, how much hypocrisy in your own life do you want to accept? Because I've definitely, we've all been there. I've said one thing and done something totally contrary to it, and been like, yeah, it's totally fine, I'm doing this now. I don't think that excuses it, but I do think it's like, sometimes when it becomes that divisive, you don't always have to listen to all of it. And like I said, I think that is kind of the nature of media, and I do mean it when I say it. I think there's value in the fact that they can be both positive and negative. Like, if it was the same rhetoric all of the time, I'd kind of like raise an eyebrow to it and be like, whoa, you have the same story, same tune every single time. Like, something's up. There's something you're not telling me. It's definitely easy to fall into like the negativity porn. Like, I was joking with a buddy the other day that like, I go like in and out of getting roped into politics, like sometimes like super involved, listening to every political news show I can find. And then I'll fall way out of it. And recently I got back into it, and it's like, man, some of it is so negative, but the internet makes it so tasty. Like, it's so hard to resist. And if it was like all positive, like, oh, they pulled a dog out of a well, and here's a video of this guy handing out free sandwiches to homeless people, and you would never click on that. So it's just, I think it's an interesting nuance of the media space. But like I said, I think there's definitely opportunity to be both honest and constructive, I think. But I wanted to say one thing on your point about like the vibe and the high coming out of the games is, I've seen this happen in the past. The games generally provides like this really, exciting moment in CrossFit, and gives us like a nice wave to ride through the rest of the year. And I think one of the things we should all remember, and I've been seeing a lot of these posts of like, games are back, and the CrossFit vibes are awesome, all that kind of stuff. And it's like, yes, great. We have to keep carrying that. It's like, it's not like it just happens and then we, ride it to next year. Like, now that we have this moment, there's like so much work we have to do. And I think that's like an easy thing easy thing to forget, because the games is so fun, not just if you were there and you're catching up with people you haven't seen in a while and like-minded people. The streaming of the games was really awesome, and the stories coming out of the games were great. And the men's side race was so fun. And the fact that Olivia Kerstetter and who's the other young lady, Lucy McGonigal, are 18 and 19. Is that true?
Yeah,
Lucy's 18.
She was 18 at like Christmas. She's like 18 and a half. It's nuts.
Oh my God. Like I was looking through those stats, and that's really exciting, right? Like that's when you talk about like the hopeful future of CrossFit. We got to keep
also
that
the
moving.
fact that like Lucy won a heat in what fucking workout was that? The burpee one, I think. Or maybe it was a handstand push, but I can't remember. Whatever workout she won a heat in, Braun won the heat in the men. So it was like the youngest girl and the oldest guy both won their heat in the same workout. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, it is obviously, it's sort of like we're in a honeymoon phase, I suppose, a bit at the minute, because like you were either at the games and thought it was just fantastic and you're amped and you'll run through a wall for CrossFit or whatever, or you weren't there and you have maybe FOMO, or you enjoyed watching it online and you're ready to maybe approach a wall at speed, maybe not actually run through it, but you're heading that way. But yeah, it is like there is a need for momentum, because I think in years past we've had this and then just been like, all right, I suppose February, we'll circle back in February and just see what happens. I think one really good thing they did was they announced the open dates, like at the games, which is crazy early comparatively. Like it's usually like fucking December, I think they say it, or November. So that's really, really early. There's also a lot of talk about where the games is going to be next year, which is also cool, because now it's like, right, so it's definitely happening. So now we can get behind that and we can start thinking about it, and then people can start saying like, ooh, year 20, will it be Carson, or will it be, you know what I mean? It will. So that's exciting. And then this new whatever advertising campaign and stuff that CrossFit themselves are doing, like that's going to be now in the next like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, going to start kicking off. It is, I feel like there's an actual considered effort to be like, right, let's not just let this fire burn out now and just be embers until February. Like, let's actually pour more fuel on it, get more wood, and just keep it going, which is refreshing as well.
Yeah, and this isn't an excuse, because I'm not trying to. I don't want to downplay, what happened last year, the tragedy of Lazar's death. But after that, it was like we put ourselves in the back foot for the rest of the year. And CrossFit's playing catch up throughout that time. And I think now like I said, I think we're seeing like, okay, we're caught up. We had this great moment. The marketing team has been talking a lot about returning to this. I like the way you really put it, is like, hey, this isn't like for everybody to just come in and like, la, 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 like hang out in the gym, bring everybody. It's, if you want to work hard, we want to work hard with you and help you do that. I really like that message, in returning to that message for affiliates and for people who want to do CrossFit. So I'm excited to see what they do. I think it's a really good opportunity. I love that they announced the open so early, because I think those things really help people. Like the Community Cup was a great example. It's a cool idea, but it was one of those things where we got it out there and everyone was like, what the hell's the Community Cup? Never heard of it. And we're just on the back foot with stuff like that. And, I think there were some assumptions that people were paying closer attention than they were, and it was a totally new thing. And now we have like all of this lead up time to capitalize on that, and coming off, a really nice games, I thought, both from like the event, the races, people who were there, the other things going on, like the affiliate conference. So I'm excited to see what happens. And I get people take shots at me for this, which is fine. It's not because like I'm a total Pollyanna and I don't realize like there are challenges and there are things that need to change or get fixed, but like, or I'm just like someone who's like just trying to toe the party line. Yeah, I've worked for CrossFit for a long time. I do give a shit about what happens to it in the future. It's like I want it to do better, but like I'm truly somebody who's an optimist. Like I believe things can get better when the right people, commit to the right things. So
Is it stressful? Like, what's your current role? Like, what's your official job?
Yeah, I think Bishel. I shouldn't say names. Ooh, somebody listed as a project manager recently. I work as a product manager. Not that that's terribly important. And I worked with a team of software engineers who pretty much work on everything related to education. So the software that helps staff our trainers all over the globe, the software that helps get people their level 1 credentials, any new courses that come out, we help manage the infrastructure for that. So it's kind of just like a keyboard warrior job. But I do work with that team. And
10 through 11, check Reddit.
yeah.
It's your daily timetable. Did you see that post on Reddit last week where someone said, how do I change my name on my level 1? I haven't accepted it because I can't change my name on it.
Oh no, I should go check. But usually sometimes people give good feedback. That's why I don't get Reddit.
I gave a great response. Yeah. So people were like, "Oh, you should email this and email." She's like, "Oh, I tried that." So I just said, "Just change your name by default." I was like, it's just easier. Just change to whatever's on the level 1. I got like 25 upvotes. I think that's the most I've ever had.
I should have checked. That's why Reddit always
send the post. But I say
please do.
Her panic was that it'll run out, that the time to accept the accreditation or whatever will run out by the time that she gets it sorted. But I'm sure there's a workaround. You said something interesting there. Oh yeah, so so for the last whatever, it feels like 6 years, we've been talking about potential sale and purchase, and like depends who you're talking to. I put up my story the other day where it's like, you talk to one person, it's sold. Talk to the next person, it's miles off. Talk to someone else, it's this person has it. Talk to someone else, like, well, apparently there's an American group, and it's just like constant, like conflicting information. Some people appear to be just like outright lying. Like other people think they're telling the truth, but they're not. So there's a lot of that stuff happening, and that's like, it's frustrating for me on the outside, being like, just fucking sell it or buy it or keep it or whatever, but just do something. What's it like working? Do you just pretend that none of that is actually happening, and just like, how do you ignore the fact that it's sort of turmoil with that sort of stuff?
Well, that's a good question. It's one of those classic, like, you can be concerned about it, but I can't really control it. And there's like, the funny thing is, like, there's still a crap ton of work to do. Like, there's just a lot to get done. And so whether or not we get sold tomorrow or in a week or 5 months, it's somewhat relevant, but it's kind of irrelevant in terms of like what we need to get done day to day. And I think you can't look at it as like, well, let's just stop everything we're doing. Like, the games wouldn't have been as good if that was our attitude. Let's just stop everything we're doing because we're going to get sold and things are going to change, and who cares? Like, you just can't operate that way. And I try to pay attention to it as much as I can, but like everybody else, I don't really know. Actually, CrossFit and I are going to buy it, so it'll be okay.
So you're just buying it yourself?
Yeah.
It's like, it's really fucking annoying. Because I know I can't control it, but I'm just so invested in it. Like, I think the real reason is because on like February 1st or something, I said or maybe it was even last October, I gave a date because I was told it's going to be sold by this date. And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, like 100%. And that's like 9 months ago. And I think I've actually just stopped saying dates now. Like, in our circle, I've just stopped giving, because I think I've just pissed everyone off by saying December 20th, like January 15th. Like,
I see a lot of comments about this, and I'm like, I want to just kind of grab people and be like, hey, it's not like you're buying an apple. Like, you're not at the grocery store being like, I'm gonna buy a pineapple today. Like, there's a lot more that goes into it, than just like, here's my money, I'm purchasing this thing now. And so I think it is a slow process. The fact that it was like made such public knowledge, I think was interesting. Because it kind of puts you a little bit on edge. But also one of the things I think is like, one of the reasons everybody's so excited is because like something that could cause that much change, feels pretty exciting. And I think, up until the games, there has been this feeling of like, at least I've seen in the what's what I want to look at, not tertiary, adjacently in the community is like, we've tried all these things and nothing is changing and nothing is getting better. We need like this really, really, really big shakeup. And I think to some extent, a lot of change can help do that. It can give you like this opportunity to finally kick things into gear and make a big change. And I said this before, I still really believe it's like, no matter who buys us, we still have to keep our own shit together, right? Like, and I said this on a podcast with Denise for the CrossFit podcast. It's like, there's no one coming to save us. And so it's like, I can't just kick back and coast, and no one else at CrossFit can kick back and coast to a sale, because we still have lots of good work to do until that happens. And even guys like you, it's like, there's still so much good work you can do inside of the community. And you need to keep doing until that happens, right? Like, your work doesn't stop just because it's like this big impending change is coming.
No, it's just extra content while we're waiting for it to happen.
Perfect.
Like if I can do a drunk reel about Malik before the weekend is out, that's going to track pretty well.
Yeah. Those have been great.
The someone, I can't remember who I was speaking to. I walked past the competition floor. I didn't walk onto it, heaven forbid. I walked past the competition floor, and there was like a guy, with like a vest and a mic and a radio and stuff. And he just goes, "Hey, your drunk reels are funny." But I walked past, and I was like, I've made it. Random, like, CrossFit employee watches them. What if you were brought into a boardroom tomorrow and they said, "All right, James, you've been around a while. Like, not a name, but like, what type of person is your ideal owner, or what type of person is your ideal CEO? What are you looking for? Someone who's there, someone who's like totally fresh coming in. Have you got a specific like avatar or whatever that you'd like?"
Yeah, it's funny because I actually just watched your interview. Watched again your interview with Greg, and his answer about Daniel. I think, CrossFit is not the only unique business that exists out there, but I truly think, the buyer has, and it's not a huge company. Like I said, I mean, it is complicated in a lot of ways, like how many countries we operate, all that stuff, how affiliates operate, how different affiliates are. The fact that we have coaches who are doing everything they can to re-up their credential, even though they coach 1 or 2 times a week. And then there are coaches who coach full time. This is just all to say, like, I think we have to have owners who understand how the sausage is made. Terrible analogy, but you guys get the point. And have really spent a lot of time, like, what is it like to be in an affiliate that has 400 members and is cranking? What is it like to go to an affiliate who's just a garage gym and they pay dues so they can buy new equipment, and in different parts of the world? And what is the difference between a member who cares about CrossFit, but they're only attached to CrossFit through their affiliate? They don't know that there's a CrossFit HQ out there. And then they need to understand that there's somebody out there who is like so addicted to CrossFit, they consume not only all of this media in the space, but they are watching everything CrossFit puts out, and they follow the games and they read every article. I think that is kind of the starting point for me. If I was in charge of that search, it can't be someone who just has this, classic business operational efficiency. There's a time and place for those things, but there really needs to be an understanding from the owner, I think, of all of those little details. At some point, they don't need to be in every single little minute day-to-day decision. But in order to understand what we are capable of, what we are built to do best, I really think they have to have like an ultimate grasp of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Or they just buy it and completely step back, and they're like, I don't know, you guys do it. So I want to put this person in here and this person in here and this person in here. And then you pick the people that are underneath you, because you know everybody and you know how it works. And you are the person that understands. You've been to whatever, 500 affiliates or whatever. Like, you don't need me telling you what a gym should do or whatever. I think that's the alternative, is either you have someone who knows and has their finger like deep in the vein, never mind on the pulse of like what affiliates and sport and everything else, or you buy it and then you just pick someone like Shafi, who's like, well, you really understand affiliates and you've been to them all over the world, and you understand the sport because you've ran the French Throwdown for whatever 9 years, 10 years, whatever it is. Someone like that. Is there like
Corey? I meant that in a nice way, but I like how you phrased it.
even you,
Even you. You know,
is there something that, say, day one or like week one or whatever, owner comes in, buys it and says, or they say it, or the new CEO says, or whoever, all right, guys, this is our first act. Like, is there something that you think like, wow, yeah, that's really cool, that really needs to happen and it's needed to happen for a long time? Or do you think that they come in? I know it's like turning a oil tanker in the Suez Canal, where it's like bit by bit, and you can't just be like, right, everybody's fired and the whole company would fall apart if you did that. And there's probably also rules about what you can do and how much you can change and stuff. But like, hypothetically, if they could come in and say, all right, here's our first big change, that you'd be like, oh yeah, that's great.
bring back regionals. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I'm probably not a great answer of this question because, again, I believe we've done a lot of good in for a very long time, but in the last couple months specifically, especially looking at how that's resonated with the CrossFit community at large. So I think there kind of is this moment to like just assess, come in, see what's going on. What have we been up to? You know, what are the things that have been leading to, you know, a directional change coming out of last year? I can't think of a perfect day one thing. What do you think they should do?
Like an in-person HQ?
You know, it's funny you say that. You know, there are people on seminar staff. This is me talking from me on seminar staff I worked with for years. And man, I haven't seen them for years, and seeing them at the games and be able to catch up and give a hug, or even like solve a problem with somebody there who I work remotely with all year. Man, it is so special. It is so special. So I think having an ability.
I mean, like, Justin Berg showed up, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, hi, everyone's going to be there.
Yeah.
But then it's even just like, I think, like, say when our group or whatever is together, we're all a lot more creative when we're around each other, because someone will say, oh, I was thinking of doing this. And then someone else will say, what about doing this instead, or doing it this way? And then just even those little things, that doesn't have to be, there's no friction. Like there's no time delay. There's no time zones. There's no, well, we have a meeting at 4 on Friday. I'll just wait and say it then. Oh shit, I forgot. I'll bring it up next Friday at the follow-up meeting or whatever. There's no like sitting, staring at your screen being like, fucking kill me. This is so boring. And it could have been an email. It's like someone sticking their head in your office saying, hey, Hobart, we need to do this. And you said, okay, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Or yeah, get such and such a person in here and the three of us just do it now. I think that's my main gripe, is that none of that is possible. Like, you're putting up friction between everything, because there's always going to be some kind of like, well, yeah, we'll just get Shirley to schedule a meeting for that or whatever. You're just putting an extra step in.
Yeah.
Whereas it could be just like a fucking tannoy system in the office saying, everybody get down to Hobart's office now because we're having a chat about ABC. And then everyone just goes down there and it's done in 5 minutes. I think that's my main gripe, but there being no in person. Plus, people can coast. Like, people can take the piss. You can, like, I'm not saying you would do this, but
you could be employed. Say that, but that's okay.
You could be employed by CrossFit to do something, and you could say, "Yep, cool, I'll get that done." Oh man, that's a big ass, Don. That's a big lift on my end. That's probably going to take me like 6 hours a day to do that. So I'll need the next 2 weeks blocked off, and you got it done Monday morning at 11 a.m. And then it's like, poof, that was easy. I can just fucking chill out now for the week. I just won't post all my stories of me working out the same day. I'll just post them over the week, so it looks like I'm really busy. But like, people can coast. Like, work from home is great in that the job you have will fill the time you have. But if you're at home, you can get it done so much faster.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, done. All right, now I'm going to go play with my kids or walk my dog or whatever. Versus if you're in HQ and you're finished something and someone walks past your office, you're like, fuck, I better do something. Like, I better go and lift something, as in metaphorical, not go down to the gym.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think we need to have like, you know, like I don't think CrossFit like needs to pat itself on the back, but I'm pretty fortunate because I've been around CrossFit a long time, so I get to see how involved people who work at CrossFit, how involved they are with CrossFit, how it fits into their lives, how they do it, where they coach at an affiliate, who the affiliate owners are, how they do it at their garage gym. And I think one of the coolest things that about some of the videos that came out of the Santa Cruz, the Scotts Valley office, were you'd see CrossFit employees working out post-work or at lunch or whatever. And I think that was like really important for, everyone who was curious about CrossFit, doing CrossFit, running a CrossFit affiliate, coaching, was to see like, hey, at the end of the day, this is the common bond we all have. And I think to some extent, when we just become, like faceless employees here, I think it's easy to forget, like, do people even work at CrossFit? Do they even do CrossFit? Do they even know what it is? Do they know the level 1 exists? And I feel like that is something we've lost a little bit. And one of the reasons the games is really awesome. And I would like more people to know about is that, how many people are at CrossFit who are still so committed to it, and, how much it matters to them outside of it just being like, I'm an employee of.
Yeah.
I don't think that solves, I think that's just sort of like a nice little add-on. I don't think that like solves any big business problems, but I do think it's something that's really important because it shows that we put our money where our mouth is.
Yeah. It's just hard to row. It's hard to have everybody rowing in the one direction if everybody's in separate boats. Like it's difficult to, it's difficult enough to do it when you're together. Savon says, I remember when you used to come on my podcast. Listen, Savon,
he hasn't invited me back.
It took me like nine months to get Hobart back on this one. So play nice.
Look at what CrossFit just wrote.
I remember. Yeah. Fuck's sake. Like it's really annoying.
That was fantastic.
I wonder, is it Greg? That'd be hilarious.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, I remember when I started it all. Do you ever concern yourself with the fact that you are like the air squat guy, and that you are like if you go on to, like, if you search James Hobart air squat, about 50 different gyms come up in images. Like the one I use for this thumbnail is a gym in Hong Kong. I just found on their website. Cool. And like often in the open, it's you on the scorecard. And then you're obviously coaching and stuff as well. But do you ever get like, man, all right, we're doing air squats, this better look good, because like people will judge me.
Aside from a couple of things, aside from being able to put my mom through her level 1 and coach at CrossFit Mafia, coach those members through classes, being that demo person, it's like one of the greatest honors I've ever had, because that's how I learned CrossFit, was from Adrian Bosman and, everybody doing the main site, Pat Barber, Nicole, Eva, all the nasty girls, Annie, that's how I learned. And so to kind of be put into that place, and hopefully it's giving something useful back to people. But I value that a lot. But I did a long time ago, and maybe I talked about this with you on a previous podcast, but I was reading a comment once and somebody just wrote, enough of James Hobart. And I was like, yeah, dude, I agree. And I agree only in the sense that, like, I want to keep giving back. There's lots I want to do. I've been here a long time. At some point, like, I'm just going to be a random face. No one's going to care. And that's how it should be. But what I'd like to be able to do in between now and then is like pass some stuff on. And so I was thinking recently, I really want, and maybe, I really want to host like the next great demo, like top demo model or something. like some sort of show or contest or like YouTube series, to pass that stuff on. Because it is
really cool. And then that person gets to be on the scorecards for the 2026 Open or whatever. That'd actually be really cool.
And talk about a fun way to like, and I mean, this is by and large what we do in CrossFit. Talk about a cool way to kick everybody in the ass to like, hey, go work on your movement. Like, I'm trying out for the next top demo. And there's like a panel of judges, and it's like one of them is just, like, I could just be really mean to people. And then somebody, it's like Paula Abdul, really nice, like American.
We could probably get Taylor to do it. He can fill that first role.
Yeah. Yep. He would be a
dude, your
nice
fucking left knee caved in. It's just like totally over the top anger.
Yeah. Or says something that's just mean and totally unrelated and like way off topic.
Your hair is fucking terrible. And it's like they're doing like a wall walk. Yeah,
so
we could do that. That'd be good.
I think that would be really cool.
So what's your prognosis then? So we've gone from like fucking life support basically. What's your prognosis now? I know you're saying that it's optimistic or whatever because we were just at the games, but like, do you think irrespective of sale or purchase or irrespective of potential personnel changes and stuff, do you think that the train is back on the tracks? Like, do you feel like, because I mean there's been some crazy stuff said, like Don's 30 million CrossFitters, and like that was you say your big crazy goal, but like maybe you identify it as a big crazy goal, but like as you're saying it, like there's been a lot of missed marks. Do you think now it's like, okay, yeah, we're back on track?
I think Adrian Bosman once told me you're only as fit as your last workout. So I think the games was a huge win. I think we have a lot of good momentum. And again, I'll just go back to saying, like, I think we have to keep doing that. I think one of the things about goals is like some of those numerical goals, they're like really fun and shiny. I think one of the biggest things I take from like our past and our foundation where we came from is the goal was very much about not a numerical outcome, but like the fitness outcome. I don't quite know how to phrase it, but like the outcome of like, improving fitness or, training trainers or caring about, nutrition and movement. I think refocusing on those pieces is like the most important thing we could do, because there's a lot of ways to chase a number. And honestly, I would argue we can't measure it perfectly. Does it even matter if we can measure it perfectly? How many people in the world are probably doing CrossFit? And like we talked about this a little bit at the games, is like, I was like, if you do a thruster, especially if you do a thruster and pair it with any other movement, I don't care if you take breaks, you eat a triple cheeseburger in between the thruster and whatever hell else you're doing, is like, if you do a thruster and pair it with another movement, you're doing CrossFit. You might not call it CrossFit. And so how many people are out there doing that? How many people who, it's been getting a lot of attention, how many people who do high rocks are doing some CrossFit some of the time? How much CrossFit do you have to do to make you be a CrossFitter? My point is like, there are a lot of ways if we want to try and get to like a really big number that you could get to a big number. We want to get X million people doing CrossFit. Maybe you could get to that number without actually doing what matters most to us and what is most important. I think as we change that and flip back to this concept of focusing in on the goal of like, hey, we want to just go out there and care about, defining fitness or improving fitness, whatever that is, I think that keeps us on the right track, because that is what's very core to what we do. So not as articulate as I want to be on that, but I think if we say, hey, our goal is to make sure that affiliates can continue to, introduce people to constantly varied functional movements execute at high intensity. For me, I think if we can focus on that goal, we're going to be a lot more effective. One, that's really core to what we do. We have a lot of experience doing it. It's something that we are good at doing, and it's important to what we do, and it's important to what affiliates do. It's not just sort of like some specific numerical measurement.
Yeah. Johnny, I think you're going to be pretty happy in about 3 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
What about the naysayers? So there's a new crop of naysayers that we've noticed sort of coming through. It used to be people on the outside. What's that fucking girl's name? Oh my god. Fuck, I can't remember. She frequently, like every 6 months, she'd post a video about how CrossFit is dangerous. I can't remember her name. Not Jenna. I can't remember. She's some American fitness woman, and she.
Jillian Michaels. No,
yeah.
Jillian something
like that. Yeah. So she'd do those videos.
Yeah,
and it used to be people like that, like people on the outside, who would be like, "Oh, haven't had many views in a while. I know, I'll criticize CrossFit, and the rage bait will work." And it did. Now it's people who built everything that they have through CrossFit, and it's either athletes who are turning around saying, CrossFit burnt me out. No, it didn't. It injured me. It ruined my joints. No, it didn't. You overextended yourself. You weren't. You went beyond doing CrossFit. You're a professional athlete. Like, show me a professional athlete who retires and says, "Wow, I feel great. I jump out of bed every morning." Like, it just doesn't happen. And you have those type of people now who are like, "I'm starting this new thing, and it's low intensity, and it's fucking bullshit." And then, you know, like, hey, people who find CrossFit too hard, come and join me on this new movement that I'm doing. And then you have people like, I don't know if you saw the other day, Ben Bergeron put up like possibly the most retarded post I've ever seen in my life, where it's gone. First of all, he turned off the comments, and then he just flat out deleted it because he was like, uh-oh. But he basically said, like, yeah, you know, that was then and this is now. And that was swinging from the bar and swinging from the rings and doing these crazy Olympic lifts. And it's like, the fucking snatch isn't crazy, you moron. And it's also like everything that you have, your whole gym, your community, the house that you live in. I'm pretty sure he met his wife through CrossFit. Like, everything that he has is through CrossFit. And now he's just dropping trow and taking a big dump on it because he thinks, well, I need to appeal, like we were talking about, to the people that it's like, yay, la, 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 like, come in and do, you know, functional fitness and we'll all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. And it's like, that's getting away from that other part that you said of, you know, constantly very high. And you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of abandoning what made it. But I think what pisses me off more is that now it's people that are inside that are doing it, or that were inside. It's not just the fucking Gillian Michaels that are lobbing a grenade from across the wall. It's people who are in and became disillusioned either because they fell out of love with it, maybe they had arguments with people, maybe they fell out with people, whatever, and then they're either can't see that that's why they're doing it, or are just too dumb to realize that that's what they're actually doing.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I saw that post that you were talking about the other day, and you know, I was reading the comments and having a nice chuckle. And what I thought to myself reading the comment or watching the post was like, oh, you're just talking about scaling CrossFit. I mean, you're just talking about CrossFit. Okay, cool. I guess what I would say is this, is like, for the people out there who want to say like, oh, I'm doing something different and CrossFit is bad. Well, if you're someone who says that, but you're still doing CrossFit, we'll let the lawyers take care of you. They're great at that. They've been doing that for years. They'll get to you. I think for people out there who are saying like, well, CrossFit's bad, here's why, X, Y, and Z, here's what we do now. What they do is not as effective in terms of improving fitness as what we do. And we know that. I really believe this. Like, you know, and I've said this before, is I don't think we need to go back in time. Like, I just don't believe in that. We need to go back to the way things were. We need to take what's good about the past and bring it into the future with us. That's what we need to do. And I believe this with my whole heart. And I've said this for years. I just can't believe that Greg made something that worked. Like, there's so many things, new things. Here's this new thing that gets introduced and you're like, yeah, this is a piece of crap. It doesn't work. Like, CrossFit works. Like, it truly works. And we know that. And I think the more we coalesce around us knowing that and believing that, and then telling others why we know and believe that, is a really good way forward for us. And it'll carry people with us. I saw somebody, W chat, somebody in there say, you know, I have a High Rocks person in my gym. I'm converting them over. I've seen people come into our gym. Oh, I'm training for High Rocks. And now they come and do CrossFit more, even though they still go do High Rocks competitions, because what we do works and it's fun. And for people who, like you said, want to work hard, we're going to help you do that. And you're really going to enjoy that process. I think that really insulates us from them. And I think if we can just get away from trying to make every single person happy and, you know, trying to like just fight these tiny battles with these people who are like, great, you want to go over there and do your own thing and talk about how CrossFit, blah, 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 have a ball. We'll look at you in our rear view mirror. And I wholeheartedly believe that, because I've seen these waves throughout my time of being here. You know, I've seen the next new thing. And there's plenty of other things, you know, space for other things in the fitness space. But the most important thing we have to remember is like, what we do works. And that's so true in terms of, you know, improving fitness, improving quality of life, forging elite fitness. No one else can say that shit. And that's really important. Like, what are they going to say? Oh, well, CrossFit made me really tired. And then we dig into it and we find out, okay, well, you were doing something different, or you were applying it in this specific way. They can't even say what they do works. We can't forget that.
Yeah. but it's even like you have people like Josh Bridges has done it a few times where it's like, I can't do these movements because of CrossFit. And it's like, yeah, but you were training for like 4 to 6 hours. That's not what CrossFit is. As in, like, you're doing CrossFit, but you're doing it as a professional athlete. CrossFit is like fucking 3 on, 1 off, an hour a day. Sometimes it's like 5 minutes. Sometimes it's 40. You know what I mean? And then I just don't. I understand what you're saying about like you go over there and say whatever you want. And we don't need to pick these tiny battles. I think we do. I don't think CrossFit does, but I think we do. I think that's the job of the external media to be like, hey, that's fucking dumb. Now, I will say this. If Don wanted to win everybody over, he'd repost that Ben Bergeron thing on his own account and just say dumb underneath it. And then everyone would be like, woo, yeah, we've got to let's keep him. But yeah, I think similar to the Forge Elite Fitness thing, like I used to love that. Like I used to love that contrarian, like I don't give a shit. Like if you're saying that what you're doing is better, go and prove it or whatever. And that kind of abrasiveness, I think I'm just hopeful that that's going to come back as well. That like the next time that the company outlook will change so much that the next time you come on the show and I ask you about something like that, you'll say, yeah, that guy's a cocksucker. Or, you say that guy's an asshole. And there won't be, there'll be no need for, I don't know. I just want unfiltered. I think, especially from CrossFit, I just think it just makes it so much more palatable or something when it's like, even if you don't agree with it, it's like, well, they always just say exactly what they think. And they always just say exactly what they think is right. And they're never going to say, that won't trend well with the Korean market. Like, they're just like, no, like what Bergeron said was dumb.
Yeah, I was just talking to Cassandra about this, and we were just talking about like, I would rather be with somebody that I like, even if I don't like everything they say, than be with somebody I don't like who's trying to make me like everything they say. You know what I mean? It's just like,
yeah,
I definitely feel that way. And that's what I'm hoping, we can get to a point of like, we are just, CrossFit staying one step ahead, in terms of our message, very clear, direct. And then everyone else is just, sprinting to keep up and play along with that. I'm hoping we can get to that. So
what about World Fitness Project and that kind of stuff? Are you like, fuck off? Or are you
haven't paid attention? I sometimes check how many Instagram followers they have. I competed as an athlete for a long time. So there's part of me that's like, I want athletes who compete to do well and, be able to make a career out of it. I made a career out of competing as an athlete in a very different way. Like I wasn't making money through competing, but I just entrenched myself in the community of CrossFit, like coaching, seminar staff, probably the role I have now, the connections I've made inside of CrossFit, any social media attention that I've gotten. And I definitely latched onto that. All came through competing. It didn't turn out like I was going to, I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars through standing on top of the podium. So there are lots of avenues to do that. I don't pay a ton of attention to the World Fitness Project at all.
Do you know what I think was
not what I care about?
What was really important from the games perspective this year for me was, and I knew it would be the case, but it was just so nice to just have that real, tangible, in-person vindication for a belief. The outpouring of emotion from the fans and the athletes, through where they placed and like winning events, winning heats, winning the whole thing, the reaction, the elation that Hopper had, his reaction to it, like just watching Tia, watching her and Shane and Willow, watching Lucy Campbell's reaction and that kind of stuff. And the only thing that I kept thinking was, you will never see a reaction like this anywhere else. Like at any other competition, you will never see that sort of electric response from the crowd when Hopper drops the bar, and you've got that Oedipus view of like, I know what's happening here. Like there's two guys chasing him down and he doesn't know it yet, and you get that reaction from the crowd. Like you will never see that anywhere else. You'll never see it at, and like no disrespect, but you'll never see it at Wodapalooza because it just doesn't matter as much. You'll never see it at SoCal. It just doesn't matter. Like it's not even close to the same level. And the World Fitness Project is the same, where it's just like cool. Like you've got cool lighting, you're paying the athletes, that's great. But like, so like you're just not going to see that sort of electricity happening when Hopper drops the bar, or when someone, you know, to think of all the fucking amazing things that have happened at the games, like Cara Saunders wobbling on the Fibonacci and Tia, like that, all of that stuff, like that happens anywhere else. It's just like, oh wow, that was close. But at the games, it's like heart and mouth, because it's the title. Like it's a longevity of however long it's been around, and it's just grown in gravitas year on year. It's just gotten more and more important every year. It's defied the odds sometimes by staying relevant and staying important. And then you have someone like Dave that's in charge of it, that's just like, he has that outlook that we're talking about of like, I don't give a fuck. There's no ring muscle ups, don't care. Or like, you know, whatever. Like, it's just, I think when you have that and it's not pandering and it's like, this is the title. And if you want the title, you have to beat all these other fuckers, and you have to beat like my programming. You have to prove that you're able to do it. And then you get to stand on top of that podium and you can claim the title of the fittest on earth versus 2 or 1 champion. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not, I just don't think it'll ever have the same level of like, oh, fuck, if there's a close race at the end of the event and even the final in Copenhagen.
Yeah, the games gives those athletes, regardless of where you like the sport and the community, are they divergent, whatever, the games gives the athletes a chance to kind of stand at the top of something that matters, not because of money. And I think that's one of the distinctive elements is for people watching. I mean, all of those athletes stepped into a CrossFit gym, maybe not all of them now, but most of them, because they just wanted to improve their lives through fitness. And like they're representative of that. And everybody in that stadium, you know, has taken part of that journey. Not everybody has stepped into a CrossFit gym and they're like, oh, I'm here because I want to do fitness and make more money. They're in there because they want to improve their lives through fitness. So when they see those athletes at the games competing, I think that's in a way representative of their journey in a gym, the effort they put into a class every day. And I think that's one of the reasons it's so different. The games is so different.
Yeah. WFP have done an amazing job to be close to the games in such a short, but all they've done is just paid money. They've just said, right, here's an open checkbook and let's purchase the athletes that are relevant because of CrossFit, because of the CrossFit Games, and let's put them in our competition, our like inferior competition, and we'll pay them to be there. And like, I don't know what's going to happen now. Like, from looking at the games just gone by, and you have like Torres put up a story today saying, usually my athletes have 3 weeks off, they go on vacation, blah, blah, blah. How long am I going to give them now? Like 3 days? And then you look at like, say, Adler, who was not himself at the games, Haley Adams, who was not herself at the games. It's like, are they going to be able to lift themselves now in whatever, 2-3 weeks time? And then you have other people like Vellner, who didn't do the games, Chandler Smith, who didn't do the games. If like you have the guys that did do the games they're going to have so much carryover fitness from peaking for the games and being ready for that if they can avoid like burning out over the next few weeks, they can just curb stomp anyone who isn't doing games training because they haven't been doing games training, that they haven't been training for the games. It's just different. Like Lucy McGonigal I asked her, like, you know, how did this feel compared to the teenage games day? Was it like physically, was it way more demanding, whatever? And she said, it is nowhere near as hard as a Sunday have proven. Like that the training for the games is so much more intense than actually doing the games, that you're so well prepared when you actually do the games. It's like, oh, this actually isn't too bad, because they've just built it up so much. And I just can't see the World Fitness Project being the same where people do that. But yeah, I think to the point of Bergeron and those other people that are building their whole thing off CrossFit and the games and the affiliates and the sport, it's the same. World Fitness Project would be nothing without the games or CrossFit, because they might call it the sport of fitness, or whatever. Or they might have videos where they're really weird about not saying the word CrossFit, where it's like this sport. And like, you know, I've been doing this for 5 years. And it's like, well, our fitness project only existed for 6 months. So you must be talking about CrossFit. But yeah, I think to your point, it's like, I really like watching the CrossFit Games because I watch Jason Hopper and think, I've trained in the same affiliate as him, or I've, you know, I did deadlifts before. And I just don't think the love will be there for the World Fitness Project from most people because they just don't have that.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't follow the World Fitness Project a ton. Like I said, sometimes I'll just check to see where they're at in terms of like their social media presence, but I don't pay a lot of attention to it. And like I said, I fall into the camp of people who I don't see like this, like we have to have the games and CrossFit separate. I was actually reading a Reddit thread about this, and somebody was like, we got to separate CrossFit. We got to separate the games. And then the last bullet point they had, it said, maybe it was you that posted. No, you didn't post this. But the last bullet point it said was something like, we have to make sure that CrossFit can still control the game so it stays true to its core. And I'm like, then why the fuck would you separate them? Now,
Yeah.
I think how we and, you know, media in the space puts how they view it and how they talk about the games and how they position it. The games should continue to be supported by the CrossFit community, mass participation in the open, the affiliates. And there is a future where the games can also support affiliates. You know, we did have hundreds of affiliates in attendance at that conference. I think I saw a stat, you know, over 50% of the affiliates there had like a level 3, or of the 200 coaches there, 50% of them were level 3 or level 4 coaches. You know, like, so you just can't tell me that the two are completely separate if you have that many people who are at the tip of our fucking coaching spear showing up to the games. And that is something we have unique over somebody like and we already lived through this shit. And that's not to say that this couldn't. Savon told me not to hold back. I saw that. Thank you. I can tell Savon doesn't like what I'm saying or whoever's commenting when he just either starts attacking me or just talking about things that don't matter. Where was I? That is one thing. Oh yeah. We've already lived through this before with Grid League or whatever they were called before Grid League. And I'm not disparaging Grid League, but it was like, oh, this is going to take over the CrossFit game season. No one's going to care about this. It's not to say things couldn't be different this time. Maybe WFP explodes, whatever. But the thing that we have that is so unique that they do not have is we have our entire affiliate and CrossFit community to support through the games and to support the games and who understand what the test of fitness really means. Because while somebody who's an affiliate will never, I shouldn't say never, is very not likely or may not even give a shit about standing on a podium at the CrossFit games, they have their own test of fitness against themselves, against the person sitting next to them in class every fucking day they go into a gym. And WFP can't claim that, you know? And I think that I feel like, maybe I don't know why it's important yet, I feel like that is something really, really, really important.
I find that reasoning doesn't resonate with me. I don't find the games inspiring because I connected to my experience in the affiliate. I find the athletes.
Oh,
like the concept of the games, but the people. Yeah, I'm not inspired. I don't give a fuck about, like, if it was 10 avatars going through or fucking robots or something going through, I wouldn't care. It's because it's Jason and I'm familiar with Jason's personality, and it's because it's Ricky and I'm familiar with his history in the sport. It is the people that are inspiring. But like, yeah, I wouldn't care about it if I didn't know and like the people or dislike the people. Like, I just wouldn't care. The reason I care is because it's the title that's on the line and because I'm familiar with the people who are doing it. And it's that sort of thing where, you know, you go to your gym and you do a fucking push-up, and then you look across the gym and you see someone doing a handstand push-up and you're like, wow, someday. And then you watch the games or you go to a local comp and you see someone in the RX category doing, like, you know, deficit handstand push-up, and you're like, wow, that they're so much fitter than the guy at my gym that I thought was crazy fit. And then you look at the games and you're like, holy fuck, this is insane. The level that you can actually probably not get to, but that some people can get to. is pretty crazy. I think that's what I find inspirational about it. Not so much the fact that like, oh, it's the CrossFit Games. I think all of that stuff plays into the fact that the CrossFit Games matters more than everything else because of the title that you can attain. And because it's just like Jason Hopper went into a gym one day and was like, oh, CrossFit. And now he's the fittest on earth. Tia Toomey was like, oh, I really want to do track. Oh, I need to do CrossFit to get better at track. Oh shit, I'm really good. Fuck, there's another one. I thought that was you as well. Fuck. All my
yeah,
predictions
Vi, that's a good point. You know, I kind of agree on that. You know, it's the athlete story too. Yeah, Trish, I'll send you some. You know, Matt, you said games is just a validation of the methodology. I think it still is. In past, it definitely was. I think the validation of the methodology is what goes on inside of a gym. Anybody who does CrossFit, coaches CrossFit, changes their life. Like for me, that's the validation. At this point, in some ways, the game still is. I also feel like it's a celebration of our methodology and the effort people put in, you know, year in and year out. And again, maybe I'm an optimist, so you don't have to listen to me. But
Jesus, Trish.
It's well said.
Wow. It's the emoji as well. It's just almost unnecessary.
Sorry, Trish. I don't have hair anywhere else. So,
wow. A Nair aficionado. All right. I think we'll have to do this more often, James. That's my
yeah. It was nice to chat with you.
Closing thoughts.
Sorry, I
thanks
broke
for coming
my
on.
mic. That's how excited I was.
It was worth it. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. You should go back on Sevens as well. Did you have to get permission to do this show, or did you just wing it?
This one, I wunged it.
You wang it. Because I know that was a big thing for a while. All right. Thanks, James. Thanks everyone in the chat as well. What day is today? Thursday. I have Lucy Campbell's coming on Sunday.
I saw that.
At the same time. So people can come and hear from the second fittest on earth. I must reshare the video when she... Isn't that crazy? The injury she had, like whatever, 4 or 5 surgeons saying, I'm not touching that. One of them taking a chance on it, coming back for like basically a year, and then does Marbella, wins it, does Wodapalooza, wins it, does the semi-final, wins it. Then remove Tia and she wins the games. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty crazy comeback. All right, thanks, James. Thanks everyone for watching, and sure we'll be back on Sunday.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.